Hey, you guys, thanks for listening in to this episode of Tips with T. On today, I have Miss Nancy with us. Hey, Miss Nancy, how you doing today?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. So thank you so much for being a guest on the show today. So tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you do.
Okay, my background's a little bit different. I've been in the financial services industry for about 40 years. I was in the process of a divorce. I took my kids, moved 70 miles. I had no alimony, no child support, no other source of income. I had $2,000 to my name and decided to start my own asset management and financial planning practice, even though I knew absolutely nothing about it. And the reason I did that was I felt that even if the business didn't work out, what I would learn about managing money would help me to raise my children. The business did work out really well. After several years, I built it to about 200 million in assets under management, and then I sold it. And for the last 15, 16 years, I coach businesses all over the country. I'm a delegate to the United Nations for the Commission on the Status of Women. I've written 3 books, and I teach continuing education classes to financial advisors and insurance professionals. So I keep busy. Once I sold my practice financially, I don't have to work, but I'm the type of person that can't just sit home, and I like to pass on what I've learned to be able to help others.
Awesome. Well, like I said, thank you once again for being a guest on the show. So today we're going to talk about a little bit about time management skills. So what is time management skills? And I guess why is it important in order to be successful?
Okay, so the first thing I would say is, and if you think about the background that I just explained to you for myself, balancing managing a household with children as a single parent and building a business at the same time management was crucial. If I would say a lot of business owners, the biggest problem they have is they feel guilty when they're at home because they know there's things at work they should be getting done. And when they're at work, they feel guilty because they're not at home with the family or with the kids.
Mhm.
So if you set up your time correctly, you can be close to 100% in one place and 100% in the other place, and not be having to bring work home and not having calls at the office and making sure that you have things balanced. So time management means that you've got, well, let me do it this way. Here's the definition of time management from Wikipedia. From Wikipedia, time management is the act or process of planning and exercising conscious control over the amount of time spent on specific activities, especially to increase effectiveness, efficiency, and productivity. It's not 100% possible for anybody to have time management down to the nth second. It's just not going to happen. But if you can get about 80% of your time at least in a good time management system, that'll make a world of difference for your work life and your personal life.
Awesome. So, what are some time management skills tips that you utilize, or that like some of your other people that you have helped utilize to help them, I guess, get a hold or a better grip on time management skills? So, what are a few things that can
Okay, I do have some slides I can show on that. Can I share my screen?
you should be able to share?
Okay, let's do that. Okay, can you see my screen?
It's loading. Oh, there, we can see it now.
Okay, let me get down here a ways. So what really causes problems is too many interruptions, not enough hours in the day to get it all done. You're pulled in too many directions all at once. You may not be organized, and you might not have the right staff in place to get done what you need to get done. So here's a system I used that worked really well for me. The first thing you do is you break your week down into 3 types of days. So all 7 days of the week fall into one of these categories. There are 3 categories, and the definition of a day for me is 80% of your awake hours are spent on this type of activity during that scheduled type of day.
Mhm.
So for example, core days. Core days are days that actually provide income to your business. It's marketing. It's conducting the marketing event, not working on doing marketing. It's actually being there and present, making a difference. It's client appointments in the office, not phone calls. It's actually being with clients. Client appointments on the phone, that can also be an appointment as long as it's controlled and you're not just picking up the phone when the client calls. So it's not taking call-ins. In my office, when clients called, I had a staff person answer the phone and they scheduled phone appointments with me. If they were my top clients, there was a certain time of the day every week that I set aside for top clients to call, and they knew they could always reach me during that time, and it was their time. But other than that, people had to schedule a phone appointment with me. And then you need to determine how many days a week should be a core day. How many appointments per day can you handle and still feel great? And how much time is allowed for each appointment? The second type of day is called a strengthening day. That's where you catch up on your paperwork, you do any education or continuing education requirements for licensing, or you're reading, being in meetings. That's business planning, that's meeting with a coach or a manager or wholesalers or support of any kind. That's marketing, that's staff meetings, that's taking and returning phone calls. And then again, for this, decide how many days per week. Prioritize the order to address the workload, which I'll talk a little more about in a minute, and a tracking system to better assure that all the work is done. And I'm going to show you that too. And then the last type of day is a personal day. And it's not the last type of day. I probably shouldn't have said it that way. It's one of the three types of days. No work of any kind, no business reading, no cell phone messages, no cell phone calls, no texts, nothing. It's time with family or friends. It's alone time, it's vacation time, and it's personal appointments. So to get started, in order to figure out how can you break your week down into these days, you need to map out everything that is important. So make a task list. And here's an example of what a task list might look like. So this is assuming, and this again was for a financial advisory practice, but this is assuming there was a licensed advisor, an associate financial advisor, and 3 staff people. You may not have all of that. And if it's only you and you have no staff people, who I would put across the top here are the different types of businesses you can use to help lighten your load. So maybe you have someone that handles your website for you. They may be up there. Or someone that takes that does all your appointment setting. That might be up there. So you need to decide. But what you do is you just make a list of all the tasks that need to get done in a week, or not even in a week, all the tasks that need to get done to run your business effectively, and then assign them to who they're going to be for. So when you see a 1 and a 2 here, a 1 means it's that person's primary job. A 2 means if the person who has that as their primary job is out sick or unavailable for whatever reason, it becomes the person that's listed as number 2. It becomes their job. So there's always a backup. And this is just a really good way to have everyone in the office know exactly what their primary and secondary duties are. And the whole office knows, so it's easier for them to integrate and work together. So that could kind of get you started. There's so much more I can say about this, but I don't know if you have more questions for me first.
Well, I am glad that you had mentioned the doing a task list, because what I had to start doing is I use Asana. And Asana is basically a cloud-based software where you can do task lists and assign them to different people, because I have a virtual assistant, and my
Yeah.
virtual assistant, I can assign tasks to her on the things that I can't complete, and it helps us to be able to communicate in one portal. And I did recently start using that because it was very, very, I realize now that it's very, very helpful
Yeah.
when it comes to your business, not even just your business, your personal life too as well, to keep the things separated so you won't get confused. And then you can also invite your team members to it, and they can actually use it. And Asana has a free version of it. So I'm glad you did mention the task list. And I was also even thinking about maybe possibly hiring on another virtual assistant so I can have two, because I am picking up more business related things that I know I can't do by myself. I'm just one person. But and it's always like good, like you said, it's always good to have those staff members or even companies that you can possibly outsource to, which is very, very helpful. Um,
You're absolutely right. And let me say one more thing about what you just said, as far as you were looking to hire a second person and there aren't enough hours in the day for you to do everything. Here's my goal. Here was always my goal for my practice. And when I left, I had this. So here's how we need to be thinking about this. One of the other big problems self-employed people have is we have a hard time giving up tasks because we feel like we're the only ones that can really get it done right. And we don't want to give it to someone else. So what I did was I sat down and figured out all the things I do every day, that if I did them all day long, I would leave at the end of the day energized, excited, love my work. I'm great at those things. And I have that list. The second list, what do I do during the day? What do I do for my job that I hate doing? I'm good at it, but I don't like it. And if I had to do it all day, I'd be drained. It would not be a fun job for me. And then the third thing that I looked at is, what are the things I'm doing because there's nobody else to do them, but I really suck at it and I shouldn't be doing it. And there's other people out there that can do it better than me. And then when I went and hired help, whether it be virtual, whether it be in the office, whether it be, doesn't matter who it is, I always looked for the opposite of me, not a clone of me. My goal was to have the office, have everybody in the office doing the things that they're the best at, that they love doing. And if they did them all day, they'd leave at the end of the day energized. And by the time I sold my practice, I had that because I rehired new people and I used that with them and made sure I got the people in that were a good match against each other. I saw those staff about a couple of weeks ago, and it's been 15 years now. They're all still there. You get the right people in the right positions, they'll do a great job, they'll love their work, and they'll be there for a long time. And it's important. And it's important for you too, because you can't do everything and you can't be good at everything. It's just not possible.
Thank you, Miss Nancy, for sharing that. Because yeah, that is very important because you are one person, you can't do it all. But my next question is, because I know where I seen in the previous slide, or like when you were talking about the different days and just schedule a day just not to really do anything, no phone or whatever, no social media. Why are those days important too as well? Because some people feel like they're not productive unless they're doing something. But why are those days that we schedule basically to not really be on a phone or anything like that? Why are those days also important as well?
If you do not set time aside to rejuvenate and to really get out of the office and forget about business, you will get burnt out and you will not be as good as you could be if you had time off. It's why people take a vacation. It's why, and in your own business, sometimes it's hard to take a vacation. So I just put up a sample, and this again was for a financial advisor, but you can use it for pretty much anybody, of from 7 in the morning until 8:30 at night, and how you might schedule out your days. So, and here's kind of how I did it. The first thing I did was I sat down and I looked at what kind of meetings I had with clients. And certain meetings to me were more draining than others. Some were more energizing and some were just draining. So I knew how many of each type of meeting I could have in a day and in a week and have a wonderful week and feel great and still get everything done. And my staff knew. So when they went to book my appointment, they knew how many of each type of meeting I could have in a day or in a week. The second thing I looked at is I always wanted Friday to be the strengthening day. That's the day when I saw no clients. I caught up on everything, because if you don't do that, how do you go in to have a really good personal day, a free weekend where you're not taking work home? So I did it for two reasons. I wanted Friday to have no appointments, to catch up on everything, get everything done so that I could truly go into the weekend without carrying work home with me. And also, so when I came into the office on Monday, I wouldn't feel overwhelmed with all the stuff that had to get done because I got a lot of it caught up on Friday before I left. So think about the way your business works. And early when you start this type of system, you're going to probably have more strengthening days and less core days and less personal days. And you're going to edit this as you go along. And the better you get at it, you'll have more core days, more personal days, and less strengthening days because you'll get better at what you're doing. You'll allocate work to the right people. And that's the other thing. A lot of business owners don't take specific time off to sit back and look at the business and make the changes necessary to get them to the next level because they're too busy getting all the day-to-day stuff done. That's what your strengthening days are for. And you need to set aside a certain amount of hours during a strengthening day to actually not get any work done other than sitting there, evaluating your business and figure out what you need to change to get it to the next level. And this is a working document. You're going to edit it, you're going to change it, but you're going to get it to a point. By the time I left the practice, mine had been in cement pretty much for many, many years. And we knew exactly how I needed to work to be efficient. And that's how I was able to grow the business from 0 to 200 million. I mean, you have to be focused and you have to have personal time. And like you were asking me, if you don't have time off, you can't be good at your job, as good at your job as if you did have time off, because your brain needs to rejuvenate.
I'm glad you said that, Miss Nancy, because I really had to get to the point to where even with clients, I had to tell them, hey, my office hours are, such and such through Monday through Friday or whatever. Like Saturdays and Sundays are my personal days. I don't answer no phone calls. I don't respond back to texts. When I'm off because that's the day those are the days that I have to rejuvenate and take that time for me.
Yeah.
And if I'm constantly working, or my mind's constantly working or thinking about work, my body is not fully resting. And a lot of people don't understand that. And you have to set those type of boundaries with whether, for yourself and with your potential clients, if you have clients that do that. Because I have had a whole bunch of clients that think that, hey, whenever they contact you, you're just supposed to jump. No, this is not how this works. So I'm glad you said that. And then also too, I'm glad that you said that also having a strengthening day. I used to have that, which was Fridays. I need to get back to doing that to where like
What got you off track? Why are you not doing it anymore if it worked?
I just got off track because I have so many stuff that I've been working on at one time. But I feel like if I will go back to my strengthening day, which is Friday, where I just dedicate 2 or 3 hours to schedule out tasks to my virtual assistants and to work on the things that I know that I can get done and just knock out, I think that will really help me to get back being as much, I'm productive, but not as productive like I would like to be. Because I even started doing like my scheduling my weeks out on the weekends. And then I was talking to one of my, colleagues about it. It was like, no, you need to take that back to Friday because your weekends, you don't want to do nothing. Go ahead and schedule your task out on Friday for the next week. So I had to start back doing that. But also too, I need to get back to having my strengthening day, which needs to be on my Friday, where I don't talk to clients, where I just plan out my tasks for next week and just work on the things that I need to get done to close out my week. So I don't have to go until the next week with completed tasks. So
I completely agree with you, except you said 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
A strengthening day is 80% of your awake time, not 2 or 3 hours.
Oh, wow. See, I'm glad you said that too, because see, that means I'm not spending enough time on my strengthening day.
Right, because how can you get your business to the next level if you're constantly putting out fires, answering calls, and doing all the other stuff? You need to have time, and it's even about providing great service to your clients. You need to have downtime. When do you get the work done for the clients if you're constantly answering phones and seeing clients?
Yes.
So you have to have downtime. You have to.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ms. Nancy, for being on the show and sharing with us this these awesome tips. I'm glad you came on the show because I needed it. This is probably like a refresher for me so I can get back to being productive. If no one else can take anything from this, I can. So I'm going to share the social media handles so you can tell our listeners how they can get in contact with you if they would like to.
Yes. So my telephone number is 860-444-0535. My email is nbutler@aboveallelse.org. And feel free to give me a call. There's no fee for an initial consultation. I'll talk to you. I'll answer any questions I can, and I'll help you in any way I can.
Awesome. And if you guys want to get in contact with me, my number is 910-317-0396. You can shoot me an email at contact@mjfinancial.biz. You can schedule a consultation on my website at www.mjfinancial.biz. And you can find this episode on Anchor, you guys, and Anchor will put it on the other major platforms. And then you can find this video on the YouTube channel as well for M&J Financial Management. So thank you once again. Miss Nancy, I highly appreciate you being on the show today.
Well, thank you for having me. I've enjoyed it, and I hope everyone got something out of it.
And all right, you guys, we will see you on the next episode of Tips with T.